Many people are married. Many people do not have to be married. They live in a monastery or live in our order. Wonderful. Self-realization is universal. It can be applied to each and every one of us. God is not partial. God is supreme. He loves every one of us, married or single, rich or poor, intelligent or without intelligence. God loves us just the same. That's the beauty of knowing God. He doesn't differentiate. He's not partial, except to those who want Him. That's why Master said, love God. Love God. Love Him more than anything else, and He will come to you. And so, if we put our effort to internal things, then we will contact the lasting things, and God will be with us, always. There's a saying, if I can remember it, an empty sack can't stand up alone or something like that. You know, it falls over. There's nothing to it. Why? They haven't impregnated, or we haven't impregnated our lives with the presence of God. Fill the sack up. This bag of bones, as it's called. Fill it up with God's presence. Then it'll stand alone. Then you'll stand alone, erect, secure in the presence of God. Heaven is within us. If we put the effort to stand in God's presence, and then we can stand and enjoy life as we should, with the power of God backing us, His zeal behind us, His great love solacing us. Then we can surely know heaven is right within us. I see I have a reference here which is, I must give you at this time. It shows that we must not depend on outward things. We must turn our attention inward. Instead of looking for satisfaction and fulfillment in this outward worldly consciousness, let us look for those things in the presence of God. And I found a few words which Master has written, which are wonderful, in which he says, human conduct is ever unreliable until anchored in the divine. How wonderful that is. Look around you. Isn't that so? I've had some of the best friends, I thought. Many of them have gone away. Don't put your faith in anything but God. That's the lesson. That's what I had to learn. Don't put it in people, except as you see God in them. And so Master says that. See, Chesterton says, everything in the future, this is the most wonderful part, everything in the future will improve if you are making a spiritual effort now. Isn't that wonderful? People say, oh, I don't seem to be getting anywhere. They are getting somewhere if they're making the spiritual effort. These are Sri Chesterton's words. Everything in the future will improve if you are making spiritual effort now. And in Daniel it says, this should forever put away the idea that you're not progressing if you're honest with God and truly seeking heaven. It says in Daniel, 10th chapter, 12th verse, fear not, Daniel. Fear not, Daniel. We might say, fear not, devotee. The moment you set your heart to understand, the moment you are fair with God, so to speak, really want Him, and then discipline yourself, chasten yourself, that means meditate and give the effort, thy words are heard. And I am come for those words. That doesn't mean He's coming next week. The minute you do those things, God hears you because His omniscience is all-pervading. And He comes immediately. That's what Steve Chesterton means. He says everything in the future will improve when you are making a spiritual effort for God. Isn't that wonderful? So don't be discouraged. I know how it is. I've been all through it. And when the Master was behind me, pushing me to the limit, I knew discouragement in all things. But God doesn't ever leave you. The moment you set your heart to understand, He will show you heaven in all things. He will never leave you. That's the beauty of knowing God. Don't be satisfied with anything less than that. Know Him. That's your birthright. That's my birthright. And so we come now to a practical question. What can we do? What can we do in a practical way to know heaven? Well, first we have to know something about heaven. We have to realize that heaven is not in this region of consciousness. Heaven is in the region of the finer forces. The finer forces where things originate, so to speak. The underlying noumena is the region of heaven. We have to know something about that. But understand this one thing. It is not knowable through the ordinary senses, mind, and intellect. It is knowable through the soul's power, through the intuition within. And that you cannot attain that except you meditate and get above this outward worldly consciousness of duality. In that there's no security. You will not contact the heavenly forces through the intellect, but you will contact them through the power of the soul, the intuition of the soul. As we say, it came down from heaven. In other words, that suggests that the heavenly region is made of finer forces. They're not perceivable in this realm here. But in this realm we have other things which are of a gross nature. Therefore, the vibration of heaven is of a finer nature than this worldly existence in which we find ourselves. In this worldly existence, we know what we have. We have worries and troubles and all sorts of things, don't we? But in the unity of God's presence, they cannot exist because the vibration is different. The vibration in God's heavenly realm is spiritual vibration. These worldly worries and so forth cannot exist there. Now, if you want to get rid of them, know heaven right within yourself. How? Meditate regularly. Meditate regularly. And the moment you start to meditate and carry it out regularly every day, you are making, as Sri Yukteswarji says, spiritual progress. Never doubt that. And if you like the Bible reference, fear not, Daniel, the moment you set your heart to understand. That's doing something about it. Do it. Do it every day. Don't